Hello, everybody. Welcome to the broadcast. My name is Danny Colella, and today we are live with Miriam Bellamy, who owns Whole Family Neurofeedback. And we are going to do a deep dive today with Miriam about not only how does neurofeedback work, but does it work? We're going to dive into her own personal experience with neurofeedback. And we're also going to just hear a little more about this story that impacted her life. So, Miriam, for everybody that doesn't know you, can you go ahead and introduce yourself, where you practice, and a little bit about you?
Sure. So, Miriam Bellamy, I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. I've been in practice for 21 years now. I was in practice for about 19 of those years in Georgia, and we moved out here to Colorado about 3 years ago.
Love it. So you practice out of Fort Collins, Northern Colorado. That's where your office is. And like I said, today we want to answer a few questions. If you're searching for neurofeedback as an option, you want to stick around because we're going to dive into some of the details behind it. And again, I want to highlight Miriam's personal story that she has with neurofeedback. She's not a practitioner that just decided to add this to make money. She wants to help other people experience what she found herself. But first, if you've had a good experience with neurofeedback, we would love for you to share your experience below at any time during this broadcast so that you can encourage others who are searching for this to find out more and hear from you how it worked for you as well. So Miriam, let's dive right into content today. To do this and do this type of work, you have to have a much deeper tie to this than just making money. Often there's a story or a why or a deeper connection to why we chose this. And what I love about you is you have a very personal story about how neurofeedback impacted you and your family. And why don't you go ahead and share your experience with neurofeedback?
Sure thing. Yeah. Well, I was struggling a few years ago and had been for quite a long time. And I'm a big believer, and people who've worked with me know it's put your own oxygen mask on first. So as a parent, I needed some help. But just as, you know, a lot of fatigue I was experiencing for a lot of years, some anxiety, some depression that would come and go. You know, I'd be going through my day and it would just hit me out of the blue. Everything would be fine, and then I would just crash. And I tried everything. I'm a pretty determined person, and I tried everything. And there'd be a lot of things that would help for a little while, but I just couldn't find those things that would just make me feel better. And I finally sort of got to this brick wall where I decided I wanted something that was a bit more like overhaul. Like, give me some, instead of chasing every symptom or chasing every bad day or whatever, what's the next supplement I'm going to take or whatever, to find something that would be a bit more helpful top down, right? So I thought, well, brain, right?
Yeah.
And I actually did something called Bowen Family Systems Theory and Therapy, and I was at a conference, and the kind of neurofeedback that they seem to like is the neuroptimal neurofeedback, which is what I decided to rent. Okay. So I rented the system primarily for myself, but, you know, I'm going to get my money's worth. So, and I want to, you know, see if I can help my family too. So we're all going to be doing it, right? So we all did sessions, and you know, for me, you know, I was 6 sessions in, and I woke up feeling rested for the first time in 20 years.
And there's no price for getting energy back in your life.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, that feels depleted. They know that.
Huh?
For anybody that feels depleted with energy, gosh, that's powerful.
Priceless, right? And the cascade effect that happened from that. But I knew this was something really significant at that point. You know, and my family knows I was the queen of the hour nap every day, like crashing hard, and had to take the 30 minutes, sometimes 45, whatever, take this nap so that I could get through the rest of the day. And I don't have that anymore. I can't fall asleep during the day. I'm that like steady with energy and good to go. So anyway, that was my 6th session in. I'm also doing sessions on the rest of my family, and my youngest in particular.
Oh, I love the emotion. Well, this was an impactful thing. I mean, you know, these emotions that Miriam's feeling right now, I want to encourage any family member that's feeling this. It's that feeling of, man, just the lost. I don't know where to turn. There's a lot of pain happening in the family. And, you know, to see these emotions still come out, you know, if you're at that lost point, this is a human being that's here to help you. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, it just kind of surprises me still. I mean, I've talked about it so much and it just comes on me.
I get it.
I mean, this is a kid who, you know, had some mountains to climb.
Yeah.
And, you know, for years we did the best we could to help her. And this is what finally really made the difference for her. We did about 10 sessions our first summer during that rental. And then I'm like, wow, this is amazing. So I bought some so, you know, we could continue to do it here and there. But we did those first 10 sessions. And so she's someone who struggled with reading, writing, math. I mean, focus. Homework would be, you know, teachers would say sort of proudly, we only give about 30 minutes worth of homework. We don't give any more than that, right? Mm-hmm. For her, it would take 2 hours. And regularly, consistently, and she would be, you know, frustrated and screaming and crying, and you know, we're just trying to help her and couldn't. And all of that went away. I would go up to her. So we gave these 10 sessions over the summer. We did notice a few nice things first, like she was much more affectionate. She was happier.
Yeah.
It was just like, wow, this is cool. But then school started and it was like, who is this kid? Because I'd go up in her room and she wouldn't be laying in her bed. She'd be over at her desk working hard at her homework, focused. And I mean, even her handwriting changed.
Wow.
It's amazing. Like you'd look at it before and it's just this scrawl. Poor thing's left-handed, so she has that as a challenge, but yeah, it's just this gorgeous handwriting. So focused. I mean, she was failing several classes. There was always just this thing that we were trying to help her through, and her frustration and hating school. Now she's a straight A student. Wow. She saw her name on the wall at the high school she goes to now, and on the honor roll.
Aww.
And she took a picture of it. It was so, like, she couldn't believe it. She thought it was a mistake.
That's power. And yes, as a parent, seeing your child struggle like that can be one of the most stressful things as a parent you can go through. What type of things, if you're open to share, did you sort of try before you found neurofeedback? Because we might have some parents that are going through the process of finding resolution. Can you share any other things that you may have tried? And
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we did you did all the psych testing, psychoeducational testing. So we got all the tips from them. We did the 504 plans at school. You know, my husband and I we're big believers in top down in a family where, you know, it's what's happening in our marriage, what's happening in the family. And so we did a lot of that work. And I believe that that's still important. Yeah. So trying, you know, just working on our own reactions as parents. We did an alternative route where we did acupuncture, supplements, the supplements in the compound pharmacy that will put this nasty tasting stuff into lollipops. Right. Really nasty. Yeah. We did all that. It just, her changing her diet. Mm-hmm. We did a lot.
You did do a lot. And this is a really good segue to just sort of talk about why this is a whole family thing for you. Obviously whole family's in your name. Why is that so important to you that it's whole family?
Because what's happening in one family member, and neuroscience is really starting to demonstrate this beautifully, that what's happening in one person's brain is actually happening in other people's brains as well. Mm-hmm. So not only do we sort of know when dad comes home and he's stressed, or mom comes home, or kid, whatever, and they're stressed, everybody gets in this mood. It's actually translating to the brain as well. Yeah. So when when more than one family member does the neurofeedback, I mean, I think part of why we got such positive results with her was because I was as committed to it, probably more committed to it than anybody in the family. Like, it wasn't just I'm going to do something to my child to fix her. It's the whole system. It's the whole emotional system. We are so interconnected, and it matters what we do. I mean, you know, we're talking before we went live here about, you know, the not reacting and not getting great, you know, with your kids and enjoying the moment when they're little and all this, because how we're doing really impacts them. So,
Totally.
yeah.
And I know
so it's a whole family.
Go ahead.
No, I'm done.
And I know when you were saying when you first got started with it, this was expensive just for you to do. And one of these unique factors about what you've created is you've made this affordable for the entire family to go through this process, right? Tell us about that.
Yeah, I think that's one of the unique things about our business is that it's affordable. So when we were looking initially for neurofeedback, I was just kind of curious what was in Fort Collins and in the market. And we were quoted $2,500 for one of us. One person. And I have people call me that they're quoted $5,000 and $8,000 for one family member.
Oh my gosh.
So, you know, our biggest rental package is $900 for 4 weeks for everybody, unlimited. Everybody in the family can use it, and we hope they do. So, and I actually have a family right now, several families who have rented a system, and they're all sort of taking advantage of this this possibility. So, yeah, it's still expensive. You know, $900 is not cheap. But compared to what else is out there, and you get the same professional level benefit in renting equipment, it can't be beat.
I love that. And, you know, again, if you're still watching to this point, I would consider you to be pretty into neurofeedback. We would still love to hear your personal experience, your positive personal experience with neurofeedback. Again, your comments are going to encourage others who watch this in the future to really engage and possibly pick up that phone call to really talk to Miriam to discover what you have found using neurofeedback. So as far as any other sort of different, unique things about your practice, is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
Yeah, I think a pretty huge thing and why I went with Neuroptimal. It's more affordable, but it's also more along the lines of how I think about and would practice in living and life or whatever. What Neuroptimal is doing, that's just there are several kinds of neurofeedback on the market. Most people don't know that. They think neurofeedback is neurofeedback, and it's not. It's all advanced and it's all very powerful. But the reason I went with Neuroptimal, one, was our personal experience, but also because there's nothing in the system that is telling my brain what it needs to do. Gotcha. And all other forms of neurofeedback are doing some kind of an assessment where they determine what your brain needs or doesn't need.
Okay.
I don't like that. I don't trust it. I don't want anybody getting in here and telling me what I need. I am a younger sister of a sister, so nobody's telling me what to do.
That's the truth.
Anyway, so basically what we do is measure the cortical activity in the brain at the scalp 256 times a second. And we actually are measuring more kinds of parts of the cortical activity than other kinds of neurofeedback. We take 4 measurements, whereas they take 2. And we take them 256 times a second. When we detect that the brain is about to shift states in an unstable way, we deliver a break in the music that the person is listening to. That break triggers a brain reflex. It's called the orienting response. And basically we're holding up a mirror to the brain. We're just tapping into what the brain is already doing, and that is learning. The brain is always learning when it gets new data. And we're giving it data about itself. And it learns from that. It's the same process as a toddler learning to walk. There's a constant feedback loop going on where the brain is just getting that feedback and learning, right? Yeah. The process we're tapping into with this. So it's a natural process. So yeah, that's pretty unique and pretty special.
Totally. And I know that's the company you choose to use. And again, if you're looking for advice or you're looking for some feedback, I have the website going along the bottom. There's a lot of great resources at wholefamilyneurofeedback.com that Miriam has put out there to kind of help you in your decision process, because this is a decision process for you. You do need to take in a lot of factors to decide if this is right for you or a loved one. But again, Miriam's always willing to have a phone call or a conversation about her services. So if you have questions or concerns, what's the best way they can call you or email you?
Let's see. So the phone number is just the 303-222-5118. They can text that number as well. You want me to say it again? Is that good?
Yeah, we'll make sure we post it in the comments below as well.
Okay, so yeah, text, email, phone. Yeah.
Love it. So, Miriam, thanks so much for spending time with us today. Thanks for getting real and raw about your own personal experience with neurofeedback, and really answering some questions for anybody that is still curious about this, whether this is going to be a good fit for them. And again, visit wholefamilyneurofeedback.com to find more and see if this is a good fit for you. And if you still have questions after that, don't hesitate to pick up the phone. Miriam is the one that's going to answer that through phone or text, and you can dive a little deeper because there's a human being behind this business, and you see her right here. So, Miriam, thanks for your time today. This was awesome. I learned so much. I hope you and the audience found this super valuable, but we appreciate your time today, Miriam.
Thanks, Danny.
All right. Bye-bye.